have to see what Snake get up to here as LGD and Snake will kick off their first draft. 2 quick bans already by LGD. Nunu and Lulu banned out, so no Nunu for Beast and likely no Juggermore as we got Rumble and LeBlanc, the first 2 bans for Snake.
Yeah, certainly very quick ban phase so far, and that is the Juggermore comp dead in the water. There is nothing else you can play it with. As soon as you take away the Lulu, just throws a spanner in the works because that speed up is so integral to being able to get Juggermore to do all that damage. And I guess Nunu, whilst also fitting into that comp, is something that we've just seen Beast play so much, and he really does counter jungle very heavily when he has that champion, and I don't blame LGD for wanting TBQ to be a little bit freer in that area.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's been a common ban against Beast in general since he started in the LPL. There's the Xerath ban as well, so good homework done here by LGD. Clearly know what they want to ban out here. And Snake, again, it's a new Snake on 5.4. They're one of the first teams to really figure out the last patch. I feel like 5.1 especially was their patch here, but we'll have to see what happens. Ari gets banned as the last one for Snake, and Rek'Sai immediately goes over to TBQ.
Yeah, so TBQ grabbing Rek'Sai over Vi, which is something that he's performed very, I guess, I'm not going to say well, but much better on Vi. I think that Vi against a crystal-focused composition as well is something that they should have considered. But Rek'Sai is a first lock-in, and straight away they go very, very hard with 2 strong carries.
Yeah, Lissandra, a great champion. Haven't seen that much of her yesterday, at least, since the transition to 5.4. But Flunder is a great Lissandra player, and I'm sure Bucket can play as well. It actually would suit his style as far as he likes to play mid lane. And, of course, Kalista. We talk about Crystal. He's got a hyper carry.
Yeah, and this is why I was very confused about the Rek'Sai pickup, because Vi is a hard counter, and then, Lissandra is the other one that's able to lock it down. And when they pick the Rek'Sai first, they automatically give the Kalista pick over because of the fact that now there's no Vi that can be taken into any lane, and the fact that Lissandra was able to be picked up at the same time just means that Crystal could get out of control.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Snake are looking for, right, as we do move through. LGD going to pick a very standard bottom lane for them. PYL possibly on his best champion. Thresh is up there as well, very close on Janna. And Imp has been playing basically nothing but Graves.
Yeah, he certainly has. And he had a couple of rocky games with it, but his overall looked very good. His positioning on a short-range AD carry, and Graves is kind of on the shorter side still, is very good. And his laning is looks much better on an aggressive carry like Graves. So I like what they're going for here, trying to take it to the Kalista pickup.
Yeah, just a bit more rotation-based, a bit more team play, little scrappy, a little more skirmish-based. As Snake, they are going to start mixing it up. And a hero pick for Ella that we've seen him play a couple times, but Hecarim going somewhere. Could be jungle, could be top lane, could even be mid lane if you want to go really deep here, but this is different for Snake.
Yeah, it certainly is different for Snake, and no one swapped their summoner spells over yet, so don't really know whether it is that crazy Ignite teleport Hecarim in the top lane, or maybe even an Ignite smart jungle Hecarim, depending on whether he's been looking at Insect's game. But I like the Hecarim pickup. Hecarim is very hard for Graves to deal with. You don't get through all of his health pool with that upfront burst damage. You have to consistently try and kite away. Hecarim heals up a lot of damage as well when he's diving onto those carries, and that's going to be another Cho'Gath mid lane.
Yeah, we're doing some stuff here in the LPL this week. We've seen some things being mixed up here, but Acorn's going to take Cannon again. He's played it, I think, at least once here, but that is, like you mentioned, AP mid Cho'Gath for Wayless here. And once again, a Flame Champion gets picked for Acorn.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that. I think the Cho'Gath is something that we need to talk about because with 40% CDR just provides so much utility to a team. The knock-up is huge, but the silence is one of the most underrated CCs in the game. And you see that it was taken off LeBlanc, it was taken off a lot of assassins like the Talon, but the fact that it still remains on Cho'Gath, it's a big area of effect cone. Does a lot of work throughout that late game. But the Cannon pickup into Acorn's champion pool. Acorn, fantastic player, very good team fighter. I wouldn't be surprised if he played it very well, but it just really makes you question why they have Flame on the bench.
I mean, maybe, but Snake are also going to last pick Sion here, which will give Flandre another big supportive tank in the top side. So could have had a carry game here on Hecarim, but Beast actually has the Hecarim this time.
Yeah, so I like the mix up there. I think that they picked Hecarim with the flex in mind because Cannon does very well against Hecarim in a 1v1 lane, and I know both these teams do like to play 2v2 in the bottom lane. So I think that that's the reason that went in there, and Sion deals with all range carries in the top lane. It's better than any other tank. Just there is no way to chip through that shield once he gets a couple of points in it.
Yeah, it's just too tanky, very safe, very consistent laner. We've seen Snake lane swap a lot, so that would make sense as well. They can kind of put him anywhere, and Snake, especially in the top half of the map, have been very flexible when it comes to their drafts.
Yeah, they certainly have been flexible. The Morgana comes to mind straight away when they were flexing that between support and top lane. I definitely think that they are a good drafting team. They seem to have a very clear understanding of what they want to accomplish in a game when they come through a draft. Their drafts make sense. They're very logical. And I think that in this draft particularly, they just have a lot of CC and a lot of initiate. So if LGD don't pick their moments right and at any point Acorn's caught out on the cannon, they're going to, I guess, be punished very severely. In saying that, LGD have a very good team fighting Comp 5v5.
Yeah, I mean, I like the setup just basically to kill Crystal here. They need to lock down this Kalista.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's what the cannon's going to be doing, flashing on top, looking to get that slicing Maelstrom across and really cause havoc across the AD carry.
Yeah, the other thing as well, you talked about it, Beast has gone for the Smite teleport.
Yeah, he certainly has. That seems to be the popular, I guess, summoner spells. When you take a Hecarim, you need the teleport to be able to impact the map. Hecarim's ultimate is very good, and his E is useful as an escape tool. So you often see him burn that ultimate, get in there, do a lot of damage, and then just gallop out with the E.
Yeah, and again, it's something different. AP Cho'Gath, just to remind you, he's 100% win rate so far. Let's see if he can do it again. We'll get onto the Rift. And welcome here for our first game of the day, of our second day of this week's LPL. LGD are taking on Snake as fourth takes on third here for a spot really to echo up the top of the ladder.
Yeah, it certainly is, and this is important for LGD. They need to start climbing the ladder, you feel, for confidence reason and really nail down what they want to do in the playoffs. For Snake, I think that they're very comfortable with where they are. They've had the dream run into this LPL season, and they would definitely still be hungry for more, but then they can play pretty freely with the position they're in.
Yeah, they certainly can, and I think they'd love to continue, showing these teams that they can get results and maybe even catapult themselves to the first spot, make a run for the #1 team here and finish the split on top. And for me, Snake, we had big questions about what they were going to do in 5.4, and the biggest thing here has to be Beast's new jungler.
Yeah, it certainly does. I think that is an interesting point in the game. Hecarim has been, I guess, mixed success as we bring it through, so it's definitely something to watch. I like when you couple it with the mid lane champion as well, as they're going for a late invade onto this red buff. They'll catch Rek'Sai out.
Yeah, they're actually going to look in. It's the same side that, like you mentioned, LGD are starting on here. So that is going to be taken away here, potentially forcing them out of the jungle. Good early win for Snake.
Yeah, fantastic early win. Also gives them control over the map where they have their duo lane. Of course, a lane swap did come through, so they needed to do that. Otherwise, it would have forced Beefs to go to his red buff on the top side of the map, which is so dangerous.
Yeah, can't stress how often Snake love to do this. They pretty much take over whatever side Crystal is on here, make sure to get that late game carry going. It's a consistent thing that we've seen from them. We talk about Snake wanting to put a lot of eggs in Crystal's basket, and they're going to start off on the right foot here as well.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we see that Raptor sense just did get popped by a ward on the mid lane. They were trying to skirt as far as possible, so that didn't go off, but fortunately it will, and they're actually starting up this red buff relatively early. Acorn hasn't been able to grab any experience so far from TBQ's jungle path.
No, he's just following a bit and doing what he can. PL actually pretty aggressively leashing this red here, but TBQ will be able to pick it up here as well. Acorn will take out a little bit. Still no experience, by the way, actually leaving it all to TBQ's Rek'Sai.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you have to think this might be because it's a ranged matchup and they're very comfortable running a cannon, even if under-leveled. The range just helps so much. Lightning Rush, also a great anti-dive tool. Gives you some bonus resistances, as well as the fact that the stun comes through nicely after that. And early Dragon actually being called here for Snake, so they've picked it up.
Yep, Suicide Sign there once again. And they're going to pop down over to the Dragon. Flandre has died, but he's going to help DPS the Dragon. A very, very smart, kind of gimmicky Dragon there for Snake, who's seen a lot of early objective control. 3.5 minutes, first Dragon down.
Yeah, and that's crazy being able to pick that up. I guess you always know that you're going to give up the first Dragon if you do lane swap like that, especially in a freeze situation, but ooh.
People actually caught out as well. The stun landing in. The teleport's actually going to come in for Flandre as well, who is forced to cancel it as he walks back towards the top side. But Pilio level 1 has to be so careful.
Yeah, but that hurts Flandre a lot. There is a freeze still in the top lane. If he can't push that out because the jungle is also on that side of the map in TBQ, he's in a lot of trouble because he hasn't got a teleport to get back there.
And Akon, very nicely timed W, actually got the big Krug there as well. So all of the pressure that Snake put out on that bottom side of the map, pretty much taken away by Akon.
Yeah, so Akon being able to step up there as the gank comes in mid lane.
Yeah, good E there coming through. Does not get cancelled. TBQ can't quite time the knock-up, and Bucket gets out safely.
Yeah, so they were going for the knock-up first, then trying to, I guess, chain the CC with Wayless's silence, but wasn't able to get it done. And we see in the top lane already, no Duran shield, so Flandre in a lot of trouble versus him.
Yeah, Imp actually just going to go in and do so much damage over the buckshot. A good shield by Flandre will keep him at about 50% health. He's got a crystalline flask, he's got plenty of potions, but he just can't really do anything right now in this lane.
Yeah, exactly right. Just cannot get anywhere near CS, and yet in the bottom side of the map, where we thought maybe Acorn was a little bit further behind because he wasn't getting any experience, with that range, now teamed up with his support, able to go 2v2, and he's absolutely fine. They were pushing into him at the start, and he's got 9 CS and level 3.
Yeah, I mean, Krug certainly helping there as well, so a nice deal for Acorn, but PYL actually joining him for the dual lane there as well. So plenty of good stuff going in there. Acorn off to a good start, and Flandre, this happens all the time, I feel like, when Snake play. Flandre always ends up in a very precarious situation.
Yeah, he certainly does, and I think that this time around, he kind of put himself in that situation. I don't think this was 2 Snake's game plan, so you have to see how he responds to it. So 3 CS against 10 and 13, now 15. That's a huge deal, and they're actually calling the jungler up to the top side of the map to maybe try and give some support.
Yeah, Flandre has to be a little bit careful. That looks like TBQ. No, not quite. Beast actually invading with Hecarim is apparently what he wants to be doing here, which is standard Beast stuff, I guess.
Yeah, very standard Beast. Nice deep ward goes in there. They're just trying to keep an eye on it as we see the power of mid Cho'Gath. That wave clear is ridiculous, not to mention the sustain. Lissandra very good at chipping people down, but with that passive, that's not going to be a concern at all. And this is the worry in the top lane. Not the experience, none of that stuff. It's just the fact that Sion needs to get those last hits to become tanky, needs to be able to get some items behind him, is very good with 2-3 items as a tank, and not going to be able to get in there. The freeze is still being held. Yeah,
it's the constant, I guess, battle for tanks in the top lane in lane swap situations. We see it with Maka, we're seeing it now with Sion. When you get down, here's Wayless goes in, massive burst there from the feast. Baka ults himself at just the last second, but Wayless going to walk back in. A good flash should keep him alive, and Baka barely lives.
But what a play out of Baka. That was ridiculous. The quick reaction, and then the heads-up play to not ult until Wayless had walked away and not committed to the kill. That was very nice, and wow, now he's going down.
Yeah, Ella flashing in there. Wayless going to get snared up. The knockout comes through, but it's not enough to kill Baka, and first blood goes to Beast.
Yeah, and that's a huge overcalculation in the mid lane from Wayless, and a very nice roam coming through from Ella. So good job out of the whole Snake lineup really there, and a bad calculation out of the mid lane of LGD.
And you see Crystal down the bottom there as well, kind of bullying Acorn a little bit where he can as well. Has a CS advantage against Imp's Graves as well, so looking very good here. And if you can get Kalista through the early stages of the lane, she just has such a good time in the mid game.
Yeah, she certainly does. With 2 items, one of the best AD carries because doesn't rely on crit. So don't need that modifier to start stacking up with that attack speed to be able to get your job down. Allows you to go for lifesteal beforehand and just makes her brawl so successfully.
Yeah, so PLEL will return here to help babysit Acorn a little further, but that tower down to about 50% health actually, so lots of work being done. A good bit of harass there coming through with the spears there as well through the minions, and Ellis here potentially could be thrown in now with the Fate's Call.
Yeah, it certainly looks like they want to get aggressive in this bot lane. They're going for objectives in the top lane in very content to just allow this to turn into a farm battle, not pushing any objectives. And Graves is one of the best pushing AD carries. Now that Flandre has his teleport back up, it is going to be very hard for Imp to be able to kill him one-on-one.
Yeah, just wants to deny Flandre as many resources as possible for as long as possible. They already know Acorn's fine. You can see they're reflected in the CS at 34 to 10. Crystal's pretty much pushing this wave. Another great bit of harass there as well. I mean, Flandre, the longer he gets denied, like you said, the harder it is for him to get tanky. Imp going in, pops the ulti as well. Not quite enough, and Flandre survives for now.
Yeah, Flandre was always going to be able to live through that. They're going for, I guess, a little bit of added pressure. Just, once again, more zoning equipment coming through. So, nice play coming out of Imp. He's CSing quite well, although is behind his direct lane opponent. And I just think that's because his lane's been a little bit more interactive.
Yeah, and it's sort of the other thing as well that we wanted to mention that you hopped on actually when we were looking at tanks before. Whenever you end up in a lane swap situation, you get denied your early tank items and your big tank items for so much longer. And when you can't do your job, if you get towards the late game and you don't have the 2-3 items that you're expected to have, the kind of whole composition can fall apart.
Yeah, it certainly can. You look how aggressive and how much they rely on the fact that they have this big, beefy front line with the Hecarim, with the Sion. And if that doesn't come to fruition, all of a sudden you have a cannon diving onto your carries and you can't live long enough to tie up Imp on the background. And if Imp is able to afford the luxury of being able to burn your tanks with a short-ranged carry, it's going to mean all kinds of bad news. So they really do need to get them going. And Flandre's been ganked.
Yeah, TBQ's there. Flandre actually gets his flash knocked out of him. He pops his ulti, though, and that'll keep him safe.
Yeah, it certainly will, but flash ultimate and will have to teleport to get back to this turret. Horrible news as the ultimate from Rek'Sai is burnt to get down to this dragon.
Yeah, aggressive dragon being started again here by Snake. They're on top of it. This is going to be 4v4 at least. Akon already here, but Graves can't make it. A teleport being used by Flandre. That might just secure them the dragon. They are going to go in. The Pro Seeker lands in with Snake, get number 2.
Yeah, so that teleport did secure the dragon because otherwise would have been very risky to fight a level 6 cannon with that ultimate available, as well as the Cho'Gath in the mid lane, who's just so inherently tanky. So they back away from that. It will cost them top lane turret, though. So even though Imp held that wave, now they're going to be able to pick up an objective for themselves.
I mean, you already said it. Graves is just so good as far as pushing AD carries go.
Yeah, it certainly is. He is the best pushing AD carry because he has the attack speed steroid as well as the buckshot. So he can push the wave and then deals with turrets extremely well. The only one that probably outclasses, and I'm still not convinced with 0 items does, is Jinx, because of the fact you can push up with rockets and then use a minigun to shred through the turrets. But Graves certainly is one of the premier turret pushers in a 1v0 lane.
Yeah, especially in the early game, like you mentioned. Flandre did make it to the top lane, though, so the turret's going to stay alive for a little longer. A wave clear battle here in the mid has meant for very even CS. And Wayless tried to make a play, almost got the kill on Tabaka, but kind of to be expected. And this is sort of AP Cho'Gath's thing. Very safe, lots of wave clear, so both these mid laners just not really doing anything.
Yeah, exactly right. And Cho'Gath definitely happy to farm to the late game when at level 16 with 5 stacks just becomes a literal monster. You cannot get past that guy. He's so huge. Of course, the model size just exponentially bigger, helping out with the scaling on his E as well, which is fantastic. And he's just a very safe laner. Always has been Cho'Gath because of the way his passive works, and really can't bully him out. And that's what...
Imp has a big level advantage, by the way. Which actually is why the trade went so poorly there for Crystal. Does have the Hurricane, but no lifesteal yet, apart from a bit on the Doran's Blade. Ella getting aggressive, dodges the Tornado from PYL, but Imp is looking aggressive now. Level 9 with a BF and a pickaxe already. And Crystal dropping very low, almost goes down to Imp 1v1.
Yeah, so they were rotating Beast in, but maybe that's even too late because of how low he is. If they go aggressive at all, one buckshot will be the end of Crystal right here. So they're now able to, I guess, bully this lane around, and the hit on the Hurricane as first item is a very valid point. I think they were expecting the lane swap to last a little bit longer as the ult is burning in the top lane.
Yeah, Flandre's actually going in, and Akon could be in a bit of trouble. Bucker's coming in there, flash ultis, Akon pops his ult though. The damage is too much though, and Flandre gets the kill.
And that's very poor communication coming out of LGD. There was a ward. There's no ward leaving mid, and they completely knew. Just packed up and left the lane. So they, yeah, very poor rotation coming out from LGD, but a heads-up play out of Snake to pick up another kill.
Yeah, Bucker somehow finds a window to leave the farm-heavy lane, and Wayless kind of looking for a Q. Not going to find it yet here. Beast is actually in there as well. Bucker will get hit up there. Wayless going to follow in with the silence. Lots of good damage. Moves in for the Feast, the Ignite again, and no ulti to save himself this time.
Yeah, so that was a very dangerous play coming back into the lane with no summoner spells, as well as the lack of ultimate, with no support. So a 1v1 kill from this Cho'Gath, who's now picked up his Rod of Ages. It's only 12 minutes into the game, and has also got a kill for himself.
Yeah, love how Wayless has been playing the combos as well. As soon as he hits the Rupture, gets a range for the silence, and while they're silencing them before they can flash, just flash face them.
Yeah, exactly right. He's done it a couple of times now, does look to be very comfortable on this AP Cho'Gath, and even continuing to pressure the turret.
Yeah, Beast actually also taking a lot of damage. Has to be careful. Pops the Spirit of Dread, but actually can't get back in range to clear them out. So Wayless, Rod of Ages is already done very quickly. He doesn't have a stack yet, so probably finished it around the 13-minute mark, but very scary already.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you see how much raw damage that ultimate can, I guess, do. So he's having a good time in this lane. In the top lane as well, Acorn's only furthered his CS lead. It's 25, and he's got a needlessly large rod going into that Zhonya's Hourglass with the no AP really apart from the mid laner. Doesn't have to sacrifice anything in his build for an early Abyssal Scepter. Can go straight for that needlessly large rod item, and that's going to hold him in fantastic stead for the next Dragon fight.
Yeah, pretty big goon squad there moving up towards the top lane, but Flandre not going to get aggressed on just yet here. Wayless gives it up, although Rek'Sai and Jano are rotating towards the top lane.
Yeah, but it's just still so hard to kill Flandre at the moment. He's been able to pick up some help. He's got the Shroud, so will ignore some of the damage. If they get rid of the minions, they have a better job because the Maelstrom will be a lot more effective.
Yeah, Akon though dodging around, gets the first stun, pops his ulti, POAL in there, so Flandre. Ulti's out, but he's kind of under his tower. The teleport moving in there as well. Tries to go to his own tower. No, it's actually Beast. I forgot he had teleport. TVQ in trouble now as Beast going to launch on top of him. Flandre, though undead, just going to punch the minions, try and get the CS there. And Beast now with no tower to go to. He's going to get caught out. Wayless there, going to try and pop him up. He lands a silence. TVQ though, going to move back in, and plenty of damage left there as Akon gets a second kill.
Yeah, Akon grabs a kill for himself there. That's fantastic news. Worse is the 30 CS discrepancy now, but meanwhile in the bottom lane, Crystal doing work on a second tier turret will be able to take that one down.
Yeah, does get it there, pushing out very aggressively with the Hurricane. Doesn't even have the Vamps after it. Imp packed up and left for middle lane for whatever reason, and that leaves 2 towers down there for Snake.
Yeah, so able to pick that up. 3 turrets to 2, still in favor of Snake, so they've got the better of this, I guess, exchange so far, but kills now equalized, and they don't have a gold lead. It's only 500 gold, even though they picked up that turret. So a lot more gold sitting in the pockets of LGD once they are able to clear out these objectives. The worrying signs for LGD are the fact that they're so good at team fighting mid-game, but they haven't been able to pick up a dragon yet. They really need to contest for this next one. 20 seconds. They've got no turrets in the area, absolutely no vision, and you can see straight away TBQ flying across the map trying to get in range.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, dragon up very soon now. 10 seconds for Snake, and it'd be their 3rd in a row if they could pick it up as well. So the early dragon paid off there. The second one came very quickly around the normal first dragon mark, and looking to accelerate for a 3rd as Ella going to move and finds a stun there. Bucker locks him up as well. Wayless very tanky. The ulti moves in as well. Beast pops him into the wall with a devastating charge. A great shoot back to Bucker. Almost gets eaten by the Cho. And POL's in here as well, but a very clean kill.
Yeah, but that was a lot of damage, and they burnt an ultimate for it as well. So not horrible news if someone can hard engage onto Bucker. This really is Akon's fight. If they contest, it needs to be around that slicing Maelstrom.
Yeah, but summoners are up as well. Flandre popping down to the bottom. Actually already teleported to start the dragon. Flandre is so aggressive with that summoner spell.
Yeah, certainly is. Recognizes that everyone is on the top side, feels confident to go into the bottom side of the map with a deep teleport, and now they're not looking to contest at all, just going for mid lane. This is going to be the 3rd dragon at only 16 minutes.
Yeah, LGD have to be careful though. Even that move speed going to pop them back to the mid. They should get their turret, but they don't want to die. Bucker moved in very aggressively around. Flandre is going to move back in as well. He does have his ulti, but won't want to pop it, and LGD do get away with the counter push.
So they get away with the push. They trade objectives still, but this game is that accelerated that in 12 minutes we have the potential threat for a Snake lineup who team fights very, very well to have 5 dragons, which is an absolute nightmare. It makes Baron very hard for LGD to ever go near, because they have to control, wow.
Yeah, Bucker maybe getting caught out. Goody back though. Ella with a good stun to keep him alive, but PYL's in there. The W maybe going to keep Bucker safe, but Akon flash ultis and TBQ gets the kill. Crystal now in here as well. Flandre dodging back in. Akon's popped his on his way, trying to eat Crystal, but Akon's been popped up. A great Q there charged by Flandre. The next kill is going to come in. The Fate Skull pops him in for another knockup, and there's the first one. TBQ coming in, but Crystal is dancing around them, and 3 kills for 1 there. Go to Snake. Imp might even be next. Beast round the side gets the next one. Imp flashing forward for Crystal, finally gets it, but LGD are gonna get aced here. Flandre doesn't go down, and 5-2 to Snake.
An ace for 2, and they burnt the cannon ultimate as well as flash on 1 person. That was all kinds of bad coming through for LGD in the results of that fight. They went extremely aggressive and weren't able to grab it in.
What is Flandre doing, Spawn? I would like your expert opinion as an analyst.
Yeah, he's picked up a banner of command, so recognizes that they've got a good potential to push at this part of the game. I don't know.
It's going in. I mean, the minion's getting in there. TBQ will eventually clear it out. If they had a Baron, it would be even better, but that is a very aggressive pickup by Flandre.
It certainly is, and I guess it's a very... I would like to know what his thoughts behind that item is. It's a very good pushing tool.
I think everyone would.
Very good pushing tool. I guess utilizes split push as well. You can send one down a side lane and helps you control minions. So maybe if they send it down top, then they relieve a lot of pressure when the next dragon comes up. So they might be targeting that as the idea behind the item. But low efficiency in combat stats, not fantastically tanky. It's
a Flandre item. Let's put it that way. Does it have Aegis stats? I'm trying to remember because I know it builds out of it.
Yeah.
So that at least does help a little bit with the cannon damage coming in as well.
Yeah,
and also the double
would.
AP.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's Flandre. He's doing some stuff. He's clearly decided to rush the banner of command. Can't really fault him for it. Flandre is usually correct, even when he's doing absolutely crazy stuff here. And Snake, even without the promoting minion, will get another tower.
Yeah, and 70% of the work was done by the promoted minion. So promoted minion MVP in that regard. And we see that now LGD, 2,000 gold behind. Dragon up in about another 3 to 4 minutes. Being forced around the map and completely bullied by this lineup.
Yeah, and this is my question for you, Spawn, kind of moving into the mid-game. Was that you mentioned Cho'Gath very tanky already, and we've seen that Kalista, especially with this Hurricane build, can struggle to bust through super tanks. Is that sort of a thing where Cho'Gath might even be good against Kalista, which is another reason we might see more of him?
Yeah, it's certainly, if it was a top Cho'Gath, I would definitely agree, or if mid Cho'Gath starts picking up that Frozen Heart, because his health as well as all that armor just makes it a nightmare for Kalista to deal with. The problem here is that Kalista has a very good double lifesteal item set, and if Cho'Gath doesn't grab any armor, Blade of the Ruined King will be the next build that comes out, and that will just completely shred him if it is only all that health. Yeah, that's a good point there as well. I mean, at this point, again, Snake do have a relatively small lead here, but they're keeping control of the objectives, and at this point, Whale is still building up his item. Probably even can't fight Crystal, who's very strong with the 2 items now. Yeah, Crystal is very strong at this point in the game, unless they are able to layer their CC, and that's really where Kennen is the linchpin of this team comp, which is why I was very, I guess, frustrated with the fact that he burnt ultimate for one person, because they need to layer the CC on top of this Kalista. If they do not blow up the Kalista, tie up both threats, then they really don't have the amount of lockdown CC to make it happen, because they don't have an engaged heavy support, and Cho'Gath against highly mobile carries isn't going to be able to land that rupture. So a lot of pressure is on Acorn to be able to get in range. Yeah, and actually thinking a little bit more about the banner of command, Flandre, you're right, using it for split pushing is up there, just popping it, letting the wave push in. Quite good against the double AP wave clear that LGD have. We've seen teams do it with the Baron Up minion, but even on its own, it's not too bad. Yeah, it certainly isn't, and when you mention the double AP part of the composition, that's going to take a long time for Acorn to clear out, because of course Kennen, not fantastic base stats, has got the Doran's Blade, but no other AD on top of that, no attack speed. Yeah, probably going to take a while here, as we do see Snake moving around, maybe looking at their next Dragon to be their 4th actually coming up in a minute 20, and Baron is up here as well. We've already looked at Kalista and how she's so good at securing neutrals, and Snake, they are very good at objective control. They certainly are, and you can see right now, ooh, good ward. Andre just hanging out. Tries to get a bit of harass on the P-Wheel. Very aggressively forward, actually, here, but will rejoin the rest of your team. Imp going to chuck a couple bullets into him, but pretty tanky, even with a banner of command. Yeah, and that's a Ninja Tabbo coming through, because weren't able to get any more, I guess, burst potential out of the Graves after the buckshot came through. Didn't want to ultimate, and we see right now, 50 seconds until Dragon. They've completely given up control over the bottom side of the map. Again have LGD, and this is Dragon number 4 at 22 minutes. Yeah, good wave clear here as well by Snake, Flandre, and Crystal teaming up to clean that wave out almost instantly. We do have a Zhonya's completed by Bucker as well, so like you mentioned in the draft, very utility-style mid-lane play, and that definitely suits it with the build. Yeah, it certainly does. It means he can tie down that cannon before he gets onto the back line, and then use his ultimate, his Zhonya's, to keep him alive in that stasis if he does choose to go aggressive. So I definitely agree with the build-up. Sometimes Zhonya's is even better against double AP compositions, just because it allows you to survive the burst. Yeah, just dodge some of those key spells as Dragon up in 8 seconds now as well. Snake looking at one of the major objectives. They probably want to force LGD to fight them at the 5th Dragon, but they have to be a little bit careful potentially if they can, because Acorn has finished his Zhonya's now. Certainly do have to be careful of Acorn in particular, but the 1-3-1 split push is coming out of Snake with the 2 teleports. They have no fear of being engaged on here because of the fact that they're just so highly mobile. Yeah, actually, LGD will aggro the Dragon here and take a bit of damage, but Snake have a nice ward there, checking it out. Flandre already going to use his port. Actually, might go for a flank here as well. Crystal going to start the Dragon. Ella has popped the Talisman. They really want to go in. Beast is in there as well, and PYL just gets destroyed there. Crystal, though, goes down immediately to Wayless, and Beast dives in the backline trying to do damage, but Bucker keeping everyone out. Imp is still alive now as well. Bucker pops his on. Can't get any more damage done. Beast goes down for the double for Rek'Sai. Bucker going to be the next to fall here as well, you have to think, as he ease away, but Schwen can't quite finish the knock-up there. TBQ gives the kill over to Imp, and a 4-for-1 fight there. What a play out of Acorn. Kited back until he saw the opening and got the perfect Maelstrom in the choke. No one could walk up the ramp to help out Flandre as well as Beast, because no one could traverse the terrain. So off the back of that fantastic ultimate, just so much damage coming through. TBQ has picked up 4 kills for himself in this game. He's an absolute monster at the moment on the Rek'Sai, and very hard to deal with. Yeah, and almost an aggressive force there by Snake that they maybe didn't need. They had the secure there with the Kalista. They were already on top of the Dragon in position, but went aggressive and paid for it. Like you mentioned, Acorn's ulti just doing so much work in that team fight. Yeah, it certainly was, and I agree that they didn't need a force there. They had the 1-3-1 going. even though the Dragon had been started up, you could tell that they weren't serious about it because of the fact that they didn't have a chance to sweep beforehand. They didn't know where the teleports were coming. So a very early force coming through for Snake, and it cost them in the end. They lost a Dragon, so that momentum is gone. Not to mention the fact that they also lost 4 kills.
Yeah, and looks like Crystal going to clear out some more minions. Needs a bit more damage potentially here. Kind of been sitting on the 2 items for a while. Actually has a Spectre's Cowl as the 3rd item, so very defensive. Clearly afraid of Akon ulting him again.
Yeah, definitely does need to be able to deal with that. And there's not that much armor coming out of this lineup. Rek'Sai hasn't yet picked up around you, and so there's no harm in, I guess, foregoing the 3rd item. That would be that because, as we mentioned, no crit coming through, so it's not like Infinity Edge is a core part of the build, not delaying much. And Beast is being caught out.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't have a flash, remember, but it can devastating charge away. Imp, though, has found him out, taking a lot of damage already. Forced to ulti himself out there, but he's kind of on the wrong side of the map still. Flandre can move in. Beast will use his teleport to get out of the way. Not going to get cancelled there as he just gets away from PYL, and Beast, pretty creative escape there.
Yeah, able to get out, and they get a lot of damage in the mid lane for it. So even though it looked like a bad situation for Snake, in the end, they trade equal summoner spells, and it's only really an ultimate that's gained.
Yeah, but this gold difference here is so slim. It's 1,500 gold between the 2 teams now as well. LGD have started to get some of their big items coming through so they can really impact the 5v5s. And, you know, Snake looked fine. They had a good setup for this Kalista, but the fights they're picking now are not the same 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly right. It really has started to slip a little bit, and LGD have done a great job of securing some more control over the map area. They've moved into the top side of the jungle now and completely taken that away from Beast off the back of the last play. And really think that once that last Whisper comes through for Graves, he will be able to deal with this front line very nicely. No armor yet coming out on Beast. This is a danger of running 2 very heavy frontliners into double AP comps, because if the AP carries get too big, you have to itemize that MR over the armor, and Graves will just completely rip through you.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, it seems like easy to itemize against, but in reality, when someone gets out of control, all of a sudden you have too much mixed damage almost coming in, and LGD, they've gotten very strong here. We've got 2 items done for Graves, IE plus the PD, so big high impact damage items there. We've got a need to steal out item of some description coming up for Wayless. He'll be moving into whatever big item he wants soon. And Akon finishing up what looks to be an Abyssal Scepter, so once his major items get completed, even PLL stacking up the Magi's, Snake just have to pick their fights a little more carefully.
They certainly do. Don't get me wrong, Snake have a fantastic, extremely late game composition. At 6 items, I still think they have a superior composition. But it is at that point in the game where this Cho'Gath is a very menacing threat. Rek'Sai is probably at the strongest part that Rek'Sai will get to, and cannot understate how strong Graves is as a mid-game AD carry. He does ridiculous damage across a whole team fight, and once you get 5 points into that E, you really only need the Phantom Dancer for attack speed.
Yeah, and he's got that here. Moving into a last Whisper, it looks like, for the final item. I mean, just kind of looking down the other items as well. Akon has finally finished up his Abyssal. We've got the Randuin's on the way for Wayless, looking for a Warden's Mail to go along with the Giant's Belt. And Akon might have spotted out Crystal and Ella here. Do have to be a bit careful, but they'll back away, and actually going to pop the Talisman.
Yeah, so Talisman popped, very scared of the engage that comes through from this cannon. And the Janna pick starting to make a lot more sense why it was taken so early in the draft. You can see how confident Akon is to engage in these team fights, and without the Janna there, without the Thresh being picked up by Ella, it's the Annie, of course. It's very hard to disengage if you are Crystal.
Yeah, and Crystal is taking so much farm away from Beast as well. I mean, he's actually pretty happy right now. Spirit Visage got his jungle item enchanted with the Warrior, plus a BF Sword, a Giant's Belt even, and the Mercury Tread. So he's very tanky at this stage of the game for a jungler. But Crystal working towards an item here. It's done with the Banshee's Veil, but clearly feels like he needs to keep scaling and building up damage.
Yeah, and I agree with Crystal in this point of the game. It is very important for him to be able to shred through, because he's going to get CC'd that much in the fight that if not able to get all the damage down up front and get the Ren sets happening early, will struggle in the team fight if it keeps going because of the consistent CC that we're seeing. So picking up all the farm across the map, 263 until we saw that buckshot was the highest across the map, and really has gone for a safe build with some lifesteal, with some defensive, but needs to get that last Whisper now.
And I like that Snake are playing around them as well. Both Lissandra and Sign have been split pushing. Flandre, of course, with his banner of command, is kind of going into a wave, popping it, and then leaving it, letting it push on its own with the big promoted minion here. But Dragon's back in 40 seconds or so here, and Snake probably don't want to have to fight, but to their credit, they might not have to.
Yeah, exactly right. They've picked it up to the point that now if they think that they need this game to go late, they don't have to fight whatsoever. So they can definitely put it on a stall. I would be surprised if they did. Imp is going back to pick up that last Whisper before this fight. So LGD want to fight right now, and Snake isn't normally a team to back away from a little bit of a scrap.
No, they do love team fighting, and they do it very well, but they might have to play a bit measured here as Crystal's still stacking up and kind of everyone on Snake getting stronger. With, like you mentioned, Imp done with 3 items. Randuin's almost done for TBQ. We've got the Zonyas completed now for both Cannon and the Cho'Gath here. I mean, everyone has items. Even Akon has an elixir, a blue elixir, so LGD really want to fight now.
Yeah, LDG think that they've got this fight if they get it. So they've tried to sweep out wards on the backside, deny vision. They're picking up the red buff currently for Imp. He's just grabbed that. And now they're looking to group around the top side and get in and check it out.
TBQ might have gone a little bit too far there. It looks like Lysandra going to force a flash actually there by Rek'Sai. So Snake doing a good job keeping them away, but they can't really take a 5v5.
I am so surprised Acorn did not ult there. In the middle of River, 5 members stacked on top of each other. There was nowhere they could go, and he has flash available. Let's see if they start it up this time around.
Beast is actually off to the side as well. Flandre sort of running interference there. Ella popped the talisman. Snake want to do something here. Crystal's starting a dragon, trying to get the Ren stack set up here, but they have to be very careful.
They certainly do. Mid lane was pushing, top was pushing, they go in.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to go in. They don't quite commit though, and now Beast taking too much damage. He ultis, but Wayless just eats him now. A good 3-man ulti there comes in for Baka as well, and Akon not quite in there. Finally dives in the back with the exhaust. Comes down as well. TBQ trying to kill Crystal, but Imp's there as well, and that should be a dead Crystal. Flandre still alive, can't quite kill Akon, and LGD just scatter Snake to the wind.
Yeah, so they're able to pick up the team fight win. Imp grabs Crystal off the backside. TBQ still chasing out Flandre, but they'll pick up a second dragon for themselves if they want it. Akon needs to be careful.
Yeah, he's actually taking a lot of damage there, so we'll have to back away, but LGD going to give up the objective, and they'll probably try a push, maybe look at the Baron. Snake, thankfully for them, death time is pretty low, but they keep picking these fights.
Yeah, and that was a bad decision for TBQ to keep chasing that. They've got double teleports now, so Beast is back up as well, able to get in there with Flandre, and he just chased a tank as a jungler. Both pure tank items, never going to kill him.
That ward that was in the back finally gets swept out by LGD, so they do not pop up. Flandre is coming in as well. That will keep them off the Baron. Graves solos out the Dragon, so the second does come through for LGD, but Snake might be able to get counter Baron now.
Yeah, and that's the danger right there. They, I guess, tried to do it for so long that they're now in a position where the opposite is definitely a real threat, but such a large minion wave in the bottom lane, no one has dealt with it. Really need to get the waves back under control, Snake, because they've lost control over the whole of the map.
Yeah, they have, and for a team that had such good objective control in the first 20 minutes of the game, just one botch fight, and this game, which has been pretty even for the most of it, is very even now. LGD less than 1,000 gold ahead, but at this stage of the game, it feels like a lot more than that.
Yeah, it certainly does, and they're ahead at the part of the game that they wanted to be, so it just means so much more as well. When you're Crystal and you're this short-range AD carry that's reliant on being highly mobile, as well as the fact that Baka is in a very similar situation, relies on the fact that his kick can get him into the fight and then keep him alive.
Actually going in there, Imp going to get aggressive as well. Beast kind of forced a devastating charge out, but a good double knockup. There's the ulti up for Hecarim, but Flandre going to run out as well. Aegon's here as well. Baka going to mean a great 3-man knockup there for Flandre, but Baka forced to get away. Wayless finds another. Silence comes in, and Crystal around the back, but Wayless just eats Lysandra. Now TBQ going to dive back in. Snake look to disengage, but LGD get the pick they want.
Yeah, on the back end as well. Acorn going extremely deep.
Actually already used his ulti. Maybe Snake will go back in 4v5, but it'd be so dangerous. Baka's dead. Beast has to go back to base, and that might give LGD Baron.
Yeah, and once again, another confusing ultimate coming through. Doesn't look like it's going to matter this time. Starting up the Baron.
Beast can teleport in, and he does actually going to go in. 4v5, it will be Akon caught up to the side. Beast trying to find somebody. Flandre running interference, but Wayless is pretty scary for Crystal. If he gets silenced and knocked up at all, Crystal needs to survive for so long here in this fight. He's hopping back as much as he can. The Fate Skull's been popped. The double knockup going to come in, but Imp is doing so much damage in the mid-game. Flandre is going to die as well, and Crystal, nothing he can do.
Yeah, and another kill going over for TBQ. 6, 1, and 5. Fantastic game by the jungler. And they've started up the Baron again.
They're going to go in. I mean, Wayless has his ultimate. PYL will use his Monsoon to reset as well. Beast is around the side now, maybe looking for a steal. Crystal here, and Baka can make it in as well. 3v5 now, Snake go in. Lysandra going in the map, but it's a little too deep. Baka goes down almost immediately, and Snake just keep throwing people into the pit.
Yeah, and they're able to complete the clean ace, grab Baron. What a series of play out of LGD. They got the vision over the objective they wanted. They might have, I guess, rushed it at the start after that Dragon fight, but they stuck with it, were able to catch out Beast a couple of times, and once that front line isn't tanky, you see how much damage Graves is currently doing to them. It's to the point now where they just can't brawl like that. Their front line can't deal with Imp, and from there, it's just all about Acorn and Wayless being able to get on top of the carries and really make their lives miserable.
Yeah, and maybe Flunder's Banner of Command not helping him here in these situations. A decent cost-efficient item helped him when he was pushing out a lot. Would have been great if Snake kept snowballing, but, you know, we talked about 3-item Scion. He has 3 items, but one of them's a Banner of Command.
Yeah, exactly right. Doesn't feel like the 3-item Scion, and looks like he's committing to some more armor as well. So see how that goes. I'm very surprised that we aren't seeing more Warmogs being picked up in this game against the double AP. Warmog Sawmail is just such a good tool to be able to deal with all of that. You get one magic resist item and move into those. So yeah, have to see how it goes. And we see Wayless now level 16. He just takes up so much of the map. If nothing else, he is intimidating.
He really is here, and that's an easy tower coming through for LDG as they continue pushing down. Imp is unbelievably strong at this point with 4-item Graves done as well. Ella finds a stun. Beast entertains going in, so does Lissandra, but LGD is going to continue pushing. Wayless going in, almost assassinates Bucket there, and Acorn diving in the back. Massive ulti there. Crystal gets crushed, and LGD run through Snake. Bucket's ultied himself, Bucket's out of the way. Beast goes back in with the ultimate, but he's going to die. Flandre going to be the next one to go as well. The tower falls in amongst all of it. 4 kills already as Scion goes down and resets, and LGD have won the game.
Yeah, and they did it on the back of the cannon pick. What an ultimate. Fight started by Wayless in another flash Beast onto the mid laner, just chunking them out. But in the end, it was all about Acorn's Maelstroms. Able to get across into the back line, lock down both key carries because of the short range, and dictated the flow of the game.
Yeah, and this weekend, just to inform you, AP Cho'Gath currently 100% win rate over the weekend. 4 for 4 currently, and I feel like we're going to be seeing a little bit more of it.
I certainly do, and I think that the way that was used, particularly in that game, as the person to chunk out one individual against these 1 and 2 threat combos, there's no reason to not play it. He's a very good nuke mage.
Yeah, and I mean, it's such a weird champion. Very safe in lane, good wave clear, decent CC, especially as far as follow-up CC goes, but sometimes you just have to eat a carry, and that's exactly what happened to Paul Wayless there, or Bucker, actually.
Yeah, exactly right. Was able to flash in there, and I think the zoning tool, when you get to the 40% CDR, cannot be understated in that kit. It just does so much. It changes the way you play the game.
It does, and we have a lot of questions here. Will AP Cho'Gath get banned? Will Flandre build another Banner of Command? We're going to answer you guys after a quick break here, because LGD going to take on Snake in Game 2.